We do truly live in interesting times, but the truth is that it has never really been any different. I just got through listening to an audiobook entitled Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic Emperor, because I wanted to know more about the real life of a man whose writings are still influencing people nearly 2,000 years after his death. Even all those long years ago, the world struggled with war, political intrigue, and devastating natural disasters. The human state of being has always been one of constant struggle, at least since we stopped living in small hunter-gatherer groups, and even then, we were probably fighting and killing the tribes that lived just over the hill. Leaders like Marcus Aurelius tried to govern with some moral conviction. For example, during the later years of Marcus' reign, the Syrian-born general Avidius Cassius attempted a coup to establish himself as Roman emperor. Skirmishes were fought, but after the rebellion was finally put down, Marcus refused to take revenge on anyone who participated in the failed overthrow. Marcus instructed his troops that Cassius should be captured, not killed, and in a speech to those troops said the following: "Forgive a man who has wronged one, remain a friend to one who has transgressed friendships, and continue faithful to one who has broken faith." Wow. Could any of our current leaders be able to show the same fortitude? How many truly have such convictions and would stay true to them after being wronged? Now, unfortunately, when Cassius' followers heard that Marcus' armies were marching, they killed the rebel general and sent his head back to Rome, where the emperor refused to see the remains and ordered them burned. Marcus Aurelius was able to resist the temptation to strike back with the immense power at his command. He resisted the temptation to become a monster himself, even though monstrous acts were perpetrated against him. Which brings us to the problem with fighting monsters. Friedrich Nietzsche, in probably his most famous quote, reminded us of the dangers in taking on such a fight. He who fights with monsters might take care lest he thereby become a monster. And if you gaze long enough into the abyss gazes also into you. Now, I know there are many interpretations of this quote, but for me it is pretty straightforward and summarized by the old yoga maxim: you become what you hate, or as Buddha put it, what you think you become. When you place your attention on things that displease you, allowing them to invade your thoughts, you give power to those things, allowing them to control you. Ironically, it is very common to literally become and act just like those individuals and things we claim to stand against. I could spend the next 10 minutes of this video providing examples of how both sides in our current political debate act in ways they profess to be against. But the truth is that those who overlook and participate in the hypocrisy simply don't care. They have chosen teams, and all that matters is that their team wins. This video is not for those people. One of the things I struggle with in this social media-driven world is watching my friends from both sides of the divide become the monsters they are trying to fight. While I applaud their efforts to express an opinion and stand for what they see as right, unfortunately, the applications like Facebook and X are not conducive to real conversation. Rather, they produce a coarse back and forth where commenters state their personal beliefs. Sure, these formats are effective in gathering and reinforcing those who already think as you do, but have any minds really been changed? So what can we do to fight the things we see as troublesome, as monstrous? And should we even make an attempt? Marcus Aurelius was the emperor of the Roman Empire, and it was within his power and his responsibility to fight against the forces of insurrection. However, as equivalent in status to a common citizen of Rome, I hold little power to affect the path our country takes. For me personally, I have more and more kept my opinions of current events off social media. I do not share memes, and for the most part, I do not comment. It is true that every now and then I cannot resist the temptation, but it has become extremely rare. There is just no payoff, and it just fills my head with the monster talk. Another audiobook I have listened to recently is Mel Robbins' Let Them Theory. In this book, Mel takes some very ancient principles and applies them to modern life. Chief among these ideas are a few things Marcus Aurelius talked about in his meditations. You don't need to have strong opinions about things you can't control. You cannot change the minds of others, nor should you try. And be tolerant of others, but strict with yourself. In Mel Robbins' terms, if people hold beliefs you disagree with, well, let them. If people act in ways you don't approve of, again, let them. You cannot change these people, so don't waste your time worrying about their personal opinions and choices. Does this mean that you should not try to influence them? Well, no, it just means that you must let others come to decisions of their own volition. Exert influence by making your life an example of the right way to live. Jesus told us this very thing in the parable of the mote and the log. Worry about taking the log out of your eye, making your life an example. Don't judge, don't condemn, just live a good life, and in that way, when your neighbor decides it is time to change, you will be there to help. The sad fact of human existence is that if you look for it, there will always be and always has been a monster to fight. When the current political climate changes, there will always be another windmill to tilt against. But as Nietzsche said, the worst enemy you can meet will always be yourself. Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be one. If you propose to speak, always ask yourself, is it true? Is it necessary? Is it kind? Fight back by not fighting. Let them. Be a good person and make your life an example. As always, keep riding safe and, of course, keep squeezing your lemon.